Hey, I'm just listening to some YouTube stuff that I have to catch up on. And somebody sent me a link to the Art Bell archives that's on the internet. So I got to listen to some of that. Plus some books. But the thing is, while I'm catching up, man, I was just thinking about my last couple of days on YouTube, especially the impromptu Coliseum stream I did on Friday. And then decided to do a open session on my Master Teacher Response channel. When you do a Coliseum, you get viewer feedback, and that's not organized. It's just anything goes, and what the people introduce. A couple things happen. Like Truth As I Know showed up, right, and we've been going back and forth for God. It's got to be at least 2 years over what I think is bullshit, and I still think it's bullshit, but that's beside the point. And then yesterday, on my Black Master Teachers Response channel, Gabe A came up. And being Gabe A had been jostling back and forth, God, it's got to be 4 or 5 years, at least. And you never had a connection point, never had an understanding, like, what are they doing here and why are they doing it here? And why are they still floating around me? Which I still don't understand for the most part. What? I really don't understand why they float around me. Still don't understand that, so I'm not even going to lie about that. So I'm going to take a pause on that one, because I don't. But the reason I wanted to make this is because going back and forth with Truth and then going back and forth with Gabe, right in the middle of it, asking and answering questions, especially fundamental red pill questions in this space, I realized that, number one, they have no grasp about what the fundamental philosophy is in this space. They don't. And Gabe especially, but Gabe's not a red pill guy, so I give him some grace. Truth, I can't give him that grace. He's been around too long. He should have learned, blah, blah, blah. And I say that about a lot of people in this space. But midway through it, I'm going back and forth, and I'm getting upset. I'm getting pissed because I'm assuming that I'm debating equals. And I'm getting pissed because they're not grasping something that should be very basic. In my mind, it's very basic. But I have to remember what Dr. T told me. The way I see the world is not the way other people see the world, okay? The way I've been trained, I see the world 2 levels up. And I'm thinking, over the years, they're at my level. They're going on this ride with me. And halfway through the interaction with both of them, I said, oh my God, they can't grasp this. And I'm trying to say it in different ways and present it in different ways and push it down their throat. Like a baby bird, right? A baby bird trying to push food down its throat, right? Because it needs to eat. And you're trying to force them to eat. So you got the little dropper trying to force the food down their throat so they can eat, right? And then you realize that they can't eat. They can't grasp it. They can't grab a hold of it. And there's nothing you can do to actually get them to see what you see. Like I'll give you the example that shocked me, right? Because Truth showed up saying that he noticed a couple of shorts and a couple of videos where I talked about vetting women for marriage, which I've talked about thousands of times, right? I talked about it to women, I talked about it to men, blah, 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 vetting, right? And he says that it's the first time that he's heard it from me, because he thinks I'm all about the gynocracy. Okay. Which I do talk about it, but I don't talk about the gynocracy all the time. In fact, when people that are around me bring it up way more than I do. But that's also an aside. So I start showing him just little things like the one that was redone, Value Your Light and Attention, which was done, got to be about 7 years ago. Probably about 7 years ago. And Compassion had just remade it, on his channel. He took the audio and he changed the slides. He changed the pictures, because I didn't have very many. And ever since my first channel, which was more esoteric, I talked about esoteric male and esoteric female and what she represents and how you vet her. And the fact that I now remember the video, I think I'm going to repost it. I think I'll repost it on my Black Pill Gnostic, not Black Pill Gnostic, but my Master Teacher's Response channel so that you guys can see it. I'm just going to find it and repost it about the 5 things I would tell my son about women. It's actually on my Black Gnostic Speaks channel, I do believe. I did it a long time ago. I'll probably repost it. But the thing is I've been saying this and doing this since my inception on YouTube. And even before my inception on YouTube, I was talking about this. In fact, that my mentor, I've been on her show. God, it's 15 years now. I didn't think it would be that long. I thought it would be maybe 2 or 3. And every once in a while, but it's turned out to be 15. The same way I started with my partner in real life on internet. I would say radio per se in 2003, right? I thought it'd be a couple years. It turned out to be 11. It kept going and they just would not let me go. Same thing with YouTube. YouTube, I thought I'd be here for 5 years max and I would be out. I'd be done, say what I got to say, do what I got to do. 5 years, which I thought was more, almost like Star Trek, 5-year mission, and I'm out. 5 years later, I'm still here. Through a few ups and downs, but I'm still here, right? Halfway through it, Truth says I never talk about marriage or vetting. I actually tell him what I did, and everybody that was on the panel has heard me do it a million times. And everybody explained to him what the table was, what the table talk was, and where it comes. And he's arguing back and forth that y'all don't see it. And I realized that he can't grasp it. He cannot grasp what I'm saying. It's not that I wouldn't say stupid. It's not that he hasn't heard it. He can't grasp it. It's like explaining a concept to my grandson. He's 11. And I give him grace because he's 11. At some point, he can't grasp it. I do that to my family. At some point, they don't have enough knowledge or worldview to grasp certain things. So I can speak it. I can see it in their faces where they can't grasp it. Like, what are you talking about? The world doesn't work that way. Even though it does, but in their mind, it doesn't work that way. Same thing with Gabe A, right in the middle, talking about red pill versus blue pill. In fact, one of my commenters on the YouTube video said the same thing. This guy can't grasp the difference between blue pill and red pill. He cannot grasp it. He cannot grasp the philosophy, no matter how many times I explain it, how many examples I use. He cannot grasp it. Either his worldview will not do it, or can't do it, or he doesn't have the requisite personality, because this smart guy, he's an engineer, for God's sakes. He's a smart guy, but he can't grasp what I'm saying. And I'm going back and forth because I think they disagree with me. And I realize it's not that they disagree with me. They can't grasp what I'm doing and grasp what I'm saying. Like we're talking about politics, I do believe on Kev's show and Black Guru showed up when we're going back and forth about politics and about social pressure and how policy gets done. And he thinks that policy only gets done from top down. And we say, no, it comes from bottom up too. And we're explaining how it's done, and he couldn't grasp it. And I'm thinking he's being just stubborn, and he's not. He can't grasp what we're saying. He doesn't have the capacity to grasp it. And I'm noticing about the other people that follow me around on YouTube, the Black Brain Trust and other folks. I mean, even I'm going back and forth with Femi from the chat and Big J Triple X and these kind of people, especially on my response channel, the response channel. And you realize they cannot grasp what you're saying. Whatever it is that's in their mind, in their psyche, with IQ points, whatever, learning, whatever it is, they can't grab it. And this is from a very wide group of people, like Femi from the chat, doesn't have the IQ points. I know that. Big J Triple X doesn't have the IQ points. I know that. But Gabe clearly does. Gabe has a high IQ. He clearly does. But he's having the same problem as Big J Triple X, who's on the other end of the scale. And there's something about this that they can't get. Now, I got this stuff almost immediately when I read. When I read this stuff, it's almost immediate. When I started reading, had to do a report, a paper in my TC class, I hit on the points, and then my teacher took my paper and read it and actually talked about how I grasped the concept of the two and a half world problem and that philosophy. I was 18, but I could grasp the concepts, and that may be innate. I don't know. So I walk around thinking that it's normal, and it's just a matter of teaching people and showing people something they don't know, and they'll get it. And shout out to Dr. Johnson. He's been telling me for years that's not the way it works. And I'm going to have to give people more grace because they can't see what I see. Their mind doesn't work the way my mind works. I'm going to have to stop being so frustrated with people. But also I'm going to have to start limiting my access to them because I don't feel like people screaming at me because they don't get something. I don't feel like people attacking me because I can see something that they can't see, even though after 10 years, they can go back to my track record and see the results. The results are there. I was talking on Mr. Z's channel, and just something that's a few things that's over the recent past couple years, right? They talk to regular people, and they see how much further ahead they are. They've said a couple of words and they've shut down arguments where people are just, their mouths are just dropping and they can't say anything. And they realize exactly how far up they are and how far ahead they are. Now, it warmed my heart, but when I heard it, I said, oh my God, they can see. They're getting a glimpse at what I see. They're getting a glimpse at the value of the things that I try to show them. And I just wanted to just chime in as a ramble because last couple of weeks I've been really pissed off and I've been really irritated because the stuff in my family and in real life and with my children and with my grandchildren and then the YouTube stuff, it all had become a little bit too much. All the stress had become too much, and I've been really prickly. I've been really pissed off. I've been really short with people. And YouTube stuff started rubbing off in real life, and I really had to pull back because those two things are separate. And I can't let people that I don't know and I really haven't met really affect my real life because they're two separate things. And if it really gets to the point where it's really that bad, I'm going to have to cut YouTube off because it's intruding on my real life. And I was saying that to Mr. Z's folks, right? At some point, man, it's irritating me to the point I may have to cut it off. I put enough in. I've got the Black Manosphere is probably, maybe, I don't know if as far as I can push it, but as far as I can probably take it. And at some point, I got to let it go. I got to push the baby out the door or out the nest and let it fly for itself. And at some point, life has to teach them what I can't teach them. So, to make a long story short, that I finally got to the point and finally have to admit that a lot of the arguments that are going on around me is not because of a fundamental disagreement. It's because they cannot grasp what I see. And the other thing is they don't like what I'm telling them, but they're too afraid to miss out on what information that I give, even if they don't understand it. When Truth told me that the octanes, and that's the moment that I know that he didn't understand me. The octanes were not about vetting women; it's about class. When he said that, that means you didn't even study this. You didn't even take it seriously. You didn't even see what I was trying to give you because you couldn't grasp, you couldn't see the value in it. Because I told it to Ron Wills and Cousin Tita, man, they jumped all over it. I told it to Dr. Johnson, man, he jumped all over it. Instantly, he said, it's like the light bulb went on in his head. Jumped all over it. So, man, you don't know how valuable this is. And to hear truth blow it off like it's just class, it's like, I know he doesn't get it. When Gabe A couldn't explain to me the difference between red pill and blue pill, that means I know he couldn't get it. Just can't get it. He doesn't know. He doesn't know the philosophy, but he's sitting there arguing with me about a philosophy that he can't grasp. And that's when I know at some point it's a waste of time. Now, the Master Teacher Response channel was set up so that I don't have to interfere with my subs because my subs hate me doing this. They hate this channel. Most of my subs really hate this channel. They can't stand it. Most of them. That's why I put it way over here in the corner, the very last channel, with a caveat. Don't come over here complaining about who we'll go back and forth with. That's what the channel's for. Because I got tired of people putting my name in their titles and mentioning me and talking shit. I can confront this shit directly. And guess what? 99% of this shit stopped. Not all, but 99% of it stopped. They stopped putting my name in the title because they got direct responses. And they don't like the feedback coming back at them. That's why I put it over here. That's why I respond to it. And it's got me to understand that I don't know. I don't like to say people are not at my level, but they're not. And I have to come to grips with that. Now, I wish they would go on and make their own sector and call it whatever they want to call it. A Black Manosphere 2, the Black Manosphere Alternative, whatever they want to call it. Just go over and make your own. Stop trying to claim what I've built, regardless of whether you say I built it or not. Stop trying to claim what I built. Stop trying to extract people because that I've gathered them for your own use. Okay, you neither earned it nor bought it, but you think you're entitled to it, and you're not. Haven't spent enough money nor put in enough work. So that's the end of my ramble, man. Otherwise, it would go on way too long. I don't normally ramble on this particular channel, but this was apropos. It's very apropos. And, you know, my animal's been going crazy in my dreams for the last couple of nights. So if she don't quiet down, I might have to go back to turning on white noise in the middle of the night, man, because she's been going off. But the thing is that for this channel, for this venture, for this kind of stuff, at some point, we got to make a decision. And and some people I have to just let go because it's not because I hate them. It's not because, I don't like them. Let's put it this way. That's, a hatred to, there's probably one guy that, that we have a mutual hatred for. I ain't going to mention who that is. And some people I dislike for obvious reasons. But most people I'm indifferent to. Most of these people I'm indifferent to. But at some point, start limiting access. And stop wasting my time and stop wasting their time. If you're not over here learning, you can't exchange what I've learned, what I had to give you, then you're wasting your time. Stop wasting your time over here. Like the last thing, this is something I'll say and I'll go. Like we're up here and, Gabe A's throwing shots saying I'm King Trick, right? You're the tricking king. I said, where'd you get that from? He wouldn't say. That's what I want to hear him. Motherfucker, why don't you just say who said it? I'm just a messenger. Get the message right. I told him exactly what it was about tricking. Had a whole rundown, and at the end of the day, he was babbling. At the end of the day, he had to leave because he didn't want to hear what I had to say about morals and about tricking and how the world really works. And he's married. He has to keep those thoughts out of his head. Blue pill. You got to go back in the matrix. You got to plug your ears, and you got to take your blue pill and plug back in. Why are you here? I'm the wrong person to talk to. Because I'm going to show you the real. I'm going to take you to the desert of the real and show you exactly what reality is like. I'm going to take you from blue pill to black pill, and most people cannot grasp that. And they're going to limp away quietly, as they should. Stop trying to moralize something when you don't even understand where the morals came from or why they exist or why you believe them, even though you just spotted out of your mouth what you believed. And it wasn't even accurate. Doesn't even line up with real life. Anyhow, let me get out of here before this shit gets too long. BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.